is going on there? I mean, Mono Black Poison, the first card that jumps to mind with me is Lash Wraith. Are those hanging out in there?
They have 4 Lash Wraiths, just 7 poison creatures, or 11 counting the Nexuses.
Okay.
But tons of removal. He's got 8 main deck discard spells in addition to the rats. So actually 12 discard total, all in the main deck. A very different direction than we have usually. Most of the time these Mono Black Poison decks have more threats and more removal. This one's extremely discard based.
An approach that we really haven't seen.
No, I mean
in this format.
4 Duress and 4 Despise backed up with 4 Ravenous Rats, like that's unheard of. With Black Sun Zenith to clean it up.
And looking at Ian's deck list here, he is rocking Blue-White Delver, which we are used to, of course. Anything crazy going on here? Just taking a look at the deck list. He's on the Geist of St. Traff version. You're not going to find any Blaze Splicers, or he has 1 Talon hanging out in his main deck. Also has 1 Phantasmal Image, 1 sort of Warren piece to go along with 1 Rune Chanter's Pike. Only 2 Restoration Angels, but as you said, our show director brought up, these guys do test together, so they're pretty sure they know each other's deck list.
I don't think they test together.
You don't think so?
No. I think James Gates is having a little bit of fun with our show director.
Oh, okay.
See, because what's interesting is, while James claims that him and Ian test together and that he's Ian's best friend, Ian did not test with anybody for this event and doesn't have any friends in California. No,
as we do see in A Delver of Secrets, eating a Virulent Wound. Oh, that's 1. 9 to go for the poison counters, my friend. From James Gates. So we'll see if Ian's hand was reliant on Delver of Secrets flipping, or if he's still able to play a real game of Magic with them. As A Delver of Secrets off the top from Ian is not hitting play. We see a Gataxian Probe. Mana being paid. In the poison matchup.
Alright.
We see another Virulent. We see 2 Phyrexian Crusaders. It's been a little while since I've seen that. A Sign in Blood, a Black Sun Zenith, and a Lash Wraith to go along with just 1 more Swamp.
Classic Mono Black controls.
Yeah, which means Sign in Blood, you got some work to do, my friend.
The age-old battle, Mono Black Control versus Blue-White Delver.
A classic tale. Oh, he did pay life for that, okay. So he paid life, tapped his blue mana, he's going to put a Delver into play. And now a Glacial Fortress, and he's going to pass back. Looked like he was paying for that probe. I was a little bit surprised.
No, it was the Delver Secrets.
Yeah. We're going to see Sign in Blood. Targeting myself. Hit 1, Despise, hit 2, Duress.
Duress or unduress?
As a Ponder is going to flip our Delver into an Insectile Aberration. So Ian has got his initial game plan online, as we're going to see a Ponder get cast here. Going to set up some things here for the mid game while providing a clock, and we're going to have to see if James can get out from underneath this. One thing that you and I do know, there is not a 3rd land lurking over there.
It's 2 from the top at James' deck.
We'll see about that. You sound confident. I think it's the first one.
All right.
I think it's right here, right now. Ian pondering away, deciding how he's going to want to set up the mid game. Now, any initial thoughts in this matchup, Patrick? Maybe one side favors the other.
Well, I know that the popular wisdom, anyway, the general crowd wisdom is that Delver beats Mono Black Control.
Okay.
But this is certainly a very non-traditional list. So I mean, I got to imagine that James Gates did not just on a whim decide he's going to play with 12 discard spells, and that there's been some testing involved, and that he's confident that this is the plan that he wants. In general, though, it's tough when you've got cards like Skithiryx and Lash Ride that you're relying on. When you get under the gun from the early pressure, you don't punish them for paying life for all their Phyrexian mana spells, and then a timely mana leak just shuts you out.
As we do see another Gataxian Probe off the Snapcaster Mage from Ian, 3rd land, right into play. I think I called that. That's 1 for me. I'm keeping score, getting out my pen. I don't expect to win many battles with Patrick today, but I'm going to take my 1 where I can get it.
We'll see if there's a land second from the top.
We can find out. Well, I'll give you one. It'll tie us up, but I'll take my lead where I can have it. As James is contemplating, he can cast a Black Sun Zenith for 1 here. He can play a Phyrexian Crusader, which he's opted to do, and try to get the poison damage in that way, while also kind of stopping Snapcaster Mage from attacking, depending on what Iain does have in his hand. Now, you may be wondering exactly why James is playing Mono Black Poison today. I did talk to him before the tournament. This is a deck that actually won a Premier event on Magic Online. Premier event being one of the bigger tournaments that you can win. And with how the format is set up with, Black Red Zombies, Delver, various pod decks, and to a lesser extent Mono Green Infect, this deck winning a Premier event kind of jumped out at people going, hey, what's going on here? And I guess it has tested relatively well for people, so it's starting to show up a little bit more right now. That was not a land, second from the top. I don't want you to think that I forgot. So no point for Pat. 1 point for Sed. We'll keep a running tally for you guys.
Taking a look at what Ian's working with.
Talrand, I believe that it's a Talrand and Glacial Fortress, a Seachrome Coast, and what I believe is a Restoration Angel.
So a swing and a miss from James Gates.
And back to your point on that land not being on top, I think you kind of needed that land to be on top, honestly.
Yeah, a little wishful thinking, not coming to fruition.
Because we're going to see a Sign in Blood here, knocking James down to 10. These Sign in Bloods are not free.
Wow, and they are not hitting land. So it is a tough way to do it. It is a real tough way to do it.
And it looks like he's just passing back here. But if that is a Restoration Angel, which it is, nothing to really blink, no free spell to be cast, no gut shot. He's in a bad spot here. The next deck from Iain is likely going to be 6 across in the air, which is going to knock James down to 4. And it looks to be a pretty sticky situation to get out of. Iain asking James about the other Phyrexian Crusader, because the one in play is in a different language. He just wants to get confirmation on exactly what it does. Does not want to be confused or misled. You can see the Seachrome Coast coming to play, and just a passive the turn back. Then he's going to draw his card, and another non-land.
That's a Rizzy right there. That's a wrap.
I think that is going to be a wrap.
But when we move into the sideboarded games, James Gates will be picking up. Do you like Tribute to Hunger in this matchup? Because I know Ratchet Bomb has got to be appealing. Ratchet Bomb just a nice, cheap way to interact with Delver, potentially swords, anything like that. It's not a great weapon, but it's a reasonable one. Go for the throat. Nice to be able to hit the Delver, the Restoration Angel.
I like that one more.
Do you think he likes Tribute, or do you think he doesn't fear the Geist of St. Traft? Because it really comes down to whether or not you think Iain has Geist of St. Traft, right? Like, if he has Geist, it's so devastating if you don't have any removal for it. But if he doesn't have Geist, if he's playing like Blade Splicer instead, then it's not even good.
Yeah, I think there. Like, how many tributes does he have access to?
He has 1 Liliana and 2 Tribute to Hungers.
I think you may want to board in some number of those, maybe like 1 Tribute, 1 Liliana, potentially. Maybe just like a slight hedge against it, depending on what he has to take out of his deck. Like, I see a Curse of Deathhold there, which is, of course, good against Delver in most cases. He does have a Talrand and Infect and Restoration Angel, so it's not like kind of the hard lock that it used to be. Still good. But I think he may want like a Liliana as a different angle of attack, and maybe a Tribute, so again, the Geist problem that you spoke of, because it doesn't look like he has anything like Death's Verdict or any other way to really get a Liliana off the board in a profitable way. He does have Black Sun Zenith, though.
I mean, is it unreasonable to want to take the Ravenous Rats out? I mean, like, is Ravenous Rats really what he wants to be doing here? Maybe it is, but like...
Well, I don't think it's any better than... I think of his discard spells, which are Duress, Despise, and Ravenous Rats, Rats is the worst.
Yeah, I don't mind Duress and Despise too much, actually. Like, there's the possibility of him being dead draws later, but they can be very disruptive early on, and if he just leaves Iain without an answer for a turn or two, he could get a real nice position with, like, the Crusader plus Last Ride out of nowhere. But I think that the Ravenous Rats grindy plan is just the wrong way. So I would imagine, I mean, I don't know though, I don't think you sit down with Ravenous Rats in your deck if you're looking to board them out every match. But I think that there's a chance that he'll be looking to see if those rats might be better off as bombs, go for the throats, or tribute. Possibly even like Curse of Death's Hold. I mean, I don't know, like the Delver decks now, ever since they incorporated Restoration Angel and more Geist of St. Traps, are a lot less vulnerable to it.
Yeah, I remember like when you were playing Grixis, Curse of Death's Hold was like a big part of your plan.
When I was playing Grixis?
Have you changed?
We refer to those as the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s.
Well, while you were playing Grixis currently, I know that was a big part of your game plan in beating Delver. It was kind of like stick one, and then kind of just kill everything else. So
yeah,
like it was shutting off Moorland Haunt.
Yeah, they used to be more Moorland Haunt, Invisible Stalker, centric, and maybe Midnight Haunting. They didn't have access to nice things like Restoration Angel. And when they've only got like 3 creatures in their entire deck that can live through it, you know, even like Augur of Bolas. I mean, Augur of Bolas, even though the curse shuts down his power, he'll pick up a sword or a pike and get busy.
Sure. Not anywhere near as good as it used to be. Obviously, things have changed. Yeah. New cards have come forward since. Looking at Ian's deck list, let's see if he's prepared for Mono Black Poison. 2 Celestial Purges hiding out. Divine Offering for the Lash Rides that he certainly knows about. 2 Dissipates.
Yeah, as another way to deal with the Skithiryx or Lash Ride, possibly even Black Sun Zenith. Super nice to have access to those hard counters in this matchup.
Without a doubt. He also has a Knight of Glory hiding out here, which is going to likely come in. Mental Misstep's not really where he wants to be. Phantasmal Image, kind of an interesting way to deal with Skithiryx if he needs to do that. Also copying that on a Phyrexian Crusader lets him trade. They get a little battle there. And then Spectral Flights on the Geist of St. Traps, always a nice way to steal a game. If James does know about that, I think it's gonna. If James knows about that, and if that's the game plan that he is going to move into, then he's going to want those tributes at Liliana, as you said earlier. Now, I'm not sure that's the way that he's going to want to go, but something to keep in mind.
I do think James is a pretty well-read player. He's the type of guy, he studies the metagame a bit, he's keeping up on the goings-ons, and Ian talks about playing Blue-White Delver, so I think it's very possible that Gates will have the read that he's playing a Geist of St. Traft style.
As we're going to see a Despise here.
Another swing and a miss.
James got to get better at those discard spells.
I will tell you, these are certainly no Inquisition of Kozilek.
That's true.
Wow. Inquisition of Kozilek was another one you didn't know how good you had it till it's gone.
As we're going to see a hand here of Thought Scour, Divine Offering, Gutshot, Vapor Snag, and 3 lands, one of which is going to tap for a white. I didn't believe it was a Glacial Fortress, so he can do everything that he wants to do. And, of course, had it, as they say in the business.
Yeah. Had it.
Had all along. I knew it was there. Delver of Secrets does hit play. That's going to be a Sign in Blood.
Well, a nice turn 2, making up for the miss on turn 1. Still down a shock. Or a shack, as the king would say.
So Delver showing mercy for a turn, not flipping. And just in for 1, which is going to knock James down to 17.
Is that a Geist of St. Traft, Drew?
He's making this look really easy.
That is disappointing when you despise him and he goes Delver Geist.
Looks like we're going to see Glacial Fortress. He's thumbing through, crafting a game plan at this moment.
So what do you think of no 4-drop Liliana in James Gates decks? 4-drop Liliana being a 5th Lash Ride potentially if you want it.
So you're just kind of advocating just 1 copy of the card?
Yeah, wondering, you know, like as a 5th Lash Ride, because Lash Ride is so incredible in these decks. Having access to a 5th copy, I mean, he's not playing any other Liliana's main deck, so he could pull it off.
And the versatility as well, being able to search
having another removal spell or the extra, you know, another way to hit your Skithiryx mana.
Yeah, being able to search for that 5th land. I could see playing one of those. I mean, the Curse of Death's, just looking at the deck list, feels just a little bit like kind of random / out of place. Whereas I think
I think with you.
The Liliana, as there's the Ravenous Rats, the Liliana would serve. I think just the flexibility is exciting. Whereas Curse of Death's, you don't really have that flexibility. As Ian's going to decide to discard an island, flipping. Insectile Aberration is here. Gataxian Probe. going to reveal the contents of James' hand for all of us to see. I see a swamp. I see a Tribute of Hunger that you spoke about. Looks like 2 swamps, a Tribute to Hunger, a Black Sun Zenith, and a Lash Wraith. So,
nice little mix.
A decent hand.
A little slow in terms of putting some pressure on Iain, but from the looks of it, basically every hand without a Crusader is. But that Skithiryx with Lash Wraith, I mean that's a one-hit kill, right?
That's no joke.
Like that is pretty close to anywhere between 8 and 10 poison counters per hit.
So we're going to see another Glacial Fortress here from Iain. I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that he wants to set up. But right now for this particular game, he does have the Inkmoth Nexus to kind of 2-shot him. Also has a Ravenous Rats hanging out there if he wants to go the regular damage route, with Iain being at 18.
And it's tough because he can't just play out his Lash Wraith. He knows Iain has that Divine Offering.
Yep.
He also can't just swing recklessly with the Inkmoth Nexus.
But Ravenous Rats? Oh, he can get in.
He can definitely get reckless.
What's stopping him?
Nothing. Nothing, sonny boy. So what do you think? Are we going to see a Tribute to Hunger here?
I feel like this is going to be a Tribute to Hunger, I feel like. Yeah, in the upkeep. So he wants to use a Mana Leak on it. He's going to have to do it on his turn.
Smart play from James Gates.
So Tribute Hunger is going to resolve, taking care of the Insect Aberration. We know that James also has to take care of a Geist-Sustained Trap, and he does have the Black Sun Zenith to do that. But what he doesn't know is that there is a Vapor Snag hanging out in Iain's hand.
Iain knows that James knows, or James knows that Iain knows that James has a Black Sun Zenith because of the Gataxian Probe.
Yes.
But Iain, of course, knows that Iain knows that James has the Black Sun Zenith. The rat's attacking.
I mean, pretty easy to understand.
Is he telegraphing Curse of Death's Hold?
Ooh.
Or is it just saving 1 mana on the Black Sun Zenith? Since he's going to do the Black Sun Zenith anyway?
Yeah, I feel like he's just saving 1 mana. Yep.
Now, if Iain uses his Vapor Snag here, did he just get James to kill his own rat? Rats!
Rats off to you. We're going to see a shuffle of the Black Sun Zenith, just passing back.
See, I actually would like Black Sun Zenith for 1, I guess you can't do it for 2. I was going to say, if you do it for 1, it won't be enough to kill the Geist-Sensei Draft.
Yeah.
But you got to get that attack in first, so there's no way to get the Nexus to get a hit in.
We're going to see the Geist make a return appearance. Do we have a 5th land here from Iain to at least represent a Mana Leak? This could be a trap now, because he could potentially have the 5th land, and maybe he wants him to cast the Lash Wraith. He could be setting him up and we're going to find out right now via Despise. This could be another ill-timed discard spell here from James, and he does have the 5th land.
There's a Geist, a 5th land, Divine Offering, and Gut Shot.
So he's kind of trying to reel him in here to catch that Lash Wraith.
Well, no, what he wanted is he wants the Nexus to try to sneak in for the 1, so that he can just give him the Gut Shot.
Okay, give him the Gut Shot, okay.
Yeah. But Gates having none of it. Thing is, he can't just not use his Nexus and not use his Lash Ride forever because of that Divine Offering.
Yeah, because then you've essentially mulliganed twice, is a way that you can look at it.
Yeah, he's got to start making some forward progress. This Geist is going to make short work of him otherwise.
All right, there's the Lash Ride finally.
James willing to give him the Lash Ride for the Divine Offering because he's got to do something.
All right, bang bang, choo choo train. It's going to gain Iain 4 life. It's going to put him back up to 20. Geist is going to knock James down to 10. And now we know that Iain has a Gut Shot and a Mystery card.
Now, are we going to see a Skithiryx out of James next turn?
There's a Delver of Secrets. A Delver of Secrets now too. So Black Sun Zenith is your friend. right now. How do we do? That's not bad.
Not a bad start for mounting the comeback.
Checking for blackjack. No good.
Ian's looking for a Snapcaster Mage or a Vapor Snag.
A lot of good draws available here to Iain, even though Delver did not flip that turn. A lot of good draws still that are non-land, non-instant or sorcery spells. So we see Iain play his 5th lands.
And is he playing? He's playing Restoration Angel and Talrand.
Yeah,
a little bit of a mix. 2
Restoration Angels here, along with 1 Talrand in Ian's deck. So
diversifying the late game a little bit.
Now it's just going to come to kind of who draws better in this mid to late game stage that we're at. Do you think this favors one player better than the other? You know, Delver has Ponder, Tuscarora type effects versus James just has very powerful cards.
Yeah, I think this favors the Delver player, Iain, partly because of having access to things like Ponder, but partly he's only got 19 land. James has 24, so he's got more live draws. Plus, he is ahead on board. Iain doesn't have any infect counters yet, whereas James, half his life is gone, and he's facing down 9 power worth of creatures. It doesn't take very many things for Iain to kill James on the spot, whereas James still needs to assemble a couple cards in order to actually win this game. So, give a pretty solid edge to Iain, but it is far from over. Maybe 70-30 Iain.
That was a ridiculous Delver reveal. Revealing Ponder flipping Delver into Insectile Aberration, and now Ponder on the stack. So, as we bring up the subject of who has the live draws, I think we just found out. And now Vapor Snag bouncing that. Now things are spiraling out of control. That's actually puts him to 9, and then this is an attack for 9.
Now Inkmoth Nexus can chump, of course.
Well, Gutshot's going to say otherwise, my friend.
Yep, and that's the match.
That's it.
So, Iain Bartolomei winning 2-0 over Counselor James Gates of the Sperling clan.
Of the Sperling crew and Stream Team Aficionado. It looks like that's a pretty favorable matchp for Blue White Delver.
Historically,